In the previous video, we have seen what are Java constructors and what are its uses. So this is completed. In this video, we will be seeing some interview questions on Java constructors. The first question is define a constructor. So as we have seen in the previous video, a constructor is a method used to initialize the state of an object and it gets invoked at the time of object creation. So when we create a constructor, it is used mainly to create the state of an object. That means to initialize the variables for the object. That is what constructor is used for. And when the constructor gets invoked, whenever we create an object, at that time the constructor will be invoked. What are the rules for constructor? The first rule is constructor should have the same name as that of the class name. And the second one is constructor should not have any return type. That is the difference between a method and a constructor. Methods will have a return type, but constructors won't have any return type. And moreover, the constructor name will be same as that of class name. Second question: when does the compiler supply a default constructor for a class? For example, we have defined a class and we haven't defined any constructors in that class. In that case, the compiler itself, it provides a default constructor for the class. That means when there are no constructors in the class, then the compiler provides a default constructor. Next question is, will the compiler create a default constructor if I have a parameterized constructor in the class? That means I don't have a normal constructor which is a no argument constructor, but I have a parameterized constructor in my class. In that case, will the compiler create a default constructor? The answer is no, since we already have a constructor in the class, whether it is parameterized or not. If the class contains a constructor, the compiler will not provide any default constructor. So the example is, here we have a class here. In this class, there are no constructors. So in this case, the compiler will provide a default constructor. But let's see this class here. So this is class car and we have a parameterized constructor here. We are passing a string name here, and since this class contains a parameterized constructor, it will not provide any default constructor in this case. Next question is, can we have a method name same as class name in Java? The answer is yes, we can have a method name same as class name in Java and it won't throw any error, but it shows an warning message. Let us see this example. I am creating a new class here, and here I am saying method same as class, and I am using the main method. So here I am creating a method here, public void, and I am using the same name, the method name same as that of class, and here I am saying I am just printing some value here. Welcome to Selenium tutorials. So if you see this one, it is not throwing any error, it is just giving a warning message. The warning message is this method has a constructor name. That is the warning message. So we can create a method with the same name as that of class. We won't get any error, but it throws a warning message. Next question is, can we override constructors in Java? The answer is no, we cannot override constructors in Java because only methods can be overridden in Java. Since constructors cannot be inherited in Java, there is no point of overriding constructors in Java. We will see the concept of inheritance in the future videos, but for now, just remember that there is no point in overriding constructors in Java because they cannot be inherited in Java. How to call one constructor from other constructor? Let's say we have a class here which is class A, and instead of A I will take class action, and I have a constructor here action, and I am passing int x, int y to this constructor, and I have another constructor here action, int x, int y, int z. Okay, so if I want to call this constructor from this constructor, this is within the class, so we use a keyword called this. If we want to call the constructors within the same class, then we use the keyword this. Let us say I have a class here, class, superclass, and I have a constructor here. So superclass, int x, and I have a constructor, and I have another class, class child class, which extends the superclass. This extends means we are inheriting the properties of this superclass to the child class here, so that we can use all the variables and methods in this superclass. This is inheritance concept, and we will see inheritance in the future videos. So just for now, just remember that we have created a child class here, and superclass is the parent class here, and we have a constructor here, child class. And if we want to call the superclass, the parent class constructor from the child class constructor, then we have to use the keyword super. Let us see an example on both of these. We will see one example on this one, and we will see another example on this one. But since we will be covering the inheritance in the future videos, I will still show you this example. Once the inheritance concept is covered in the future videos, then you can come back and see this example again. So first let us see an example on this one, calling a constructor from another constructor within the same class. I am creating a new class now, class, and I am giving the name as test class, and I am using the main method. So type already exists, so okay, test class is already there, so I am saying test class 1. Click on finish. So in this test class I am creating 3 constructors. One is a default constructor, test class 1. This is a default constructor, and second one is a parameterized constructor, test class 1, and I am passing one parameter to this, which is an integer variable, and the third constructor is a parameterized constructor, and I am passing 2 integer variables. So I have created 3 constructors here. So for the third constructor, what I am doing is I am just printing a multiplication of these 2 values. So sysout x star y. So I am multiplying these 2 values, I am printing that value. From the second constructor, I would like to call this constructor now. Since this is in the same class, I have to use this keyword. So this I will pass the variables 4, 5. That means when I use this keyword and pass these variables, it will call this constructor here by passing these variables 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 multiplication 20 should be printed. and within this same constructor I will print the value of x. So I'm just saying print the value of x. So for this single parameter constructor I'm just printing the value here. And from the first class now I will call this second constructor. From the first constructor I will call the second constructor. Again, since this is within the same class, I will use again this keyword and I will pass 10 and I will print saying I am the default constructor. So what I am doing here is from the first constructor I am calling the second constructor, and from the second constructor I am calling the third constructor. Since we are calling the constructors from another constructors within the same class, we have to use this keyword. So for the first parameterized constructor, single parameterized constructor, we are using this and passing the value an integer value. So this system.out.println, it prints this integer value. And again from the second constructor we are calling the third constructor by passing 4 and 5 and using the keyword this. So the third constructor prints a multiplication of 4 and 5. So in which order it prints? So first we are calling this constructor from the first one. So if we create an object for this one, then it calls this one, so it comes to you. But again we are calling this one, so it comes here. So first it should print a multiplication of 4 and 5, 20, and then it comes here and it prints a value of 10 because we are passing 10, and then it comes here and it says I am the default constructor. So 20, 10 and I am default constructor. These should be printed in the order. So let's create an object now. So I'm saying test class 1 tc equals to new test class 1, and I am calling the default constructor here. So there is something wrong here. The test, okay, so the spelling is incorrect. Test class 1. Okay, now I have created this object. This will call the default constructor. Okay, now let us run this one and see what happens. Run as Java application. Save this one. Okay, so 20, 10, I am the default constructor. So what happens is it calls the default constructor. So this is the default constructor. It comes here. Now we are using this keyword to call another constructor from this default constructor, which is this one. So it comes here, but it is calling again another constructor from this keyword. So it comes here, and we are passing the values of 4 and 5. So it prints 4 into 5, 20. This is the 20 value that is printing. And now it goes back again and it prints system.out.println of x. That means this is the value 10. So now 10 will be printed, and then it comes back again to the default constructor and it prints I am the default constructor. So this is how we can call constructors from another constructor within the same class. Now let us see how to call a parents class constructor from a child class. For this one I am creating a new class again. New class, and I will give the name as child class for this, and I will use the main method. Okay, so now the class is created. I will create another class here which is parent class. So class parent class. Here what I will do is I will create an instance variable string name, and I will create a constructor parent class. I will create an argument constructor here, so string str1. Okay, so in this constructor what I will do is I will directly assign the str1 value to the name variable. Okay, so this is the parent class where I have declared a name variable, a string variable here which is name, and I have declared a parameterized constructor parent class, and in this constructor I am assigning the value that we are passing when we create the object to the name string variable here. Okay, in the child class let me print this value also here. so that we can see when the parent class constructor is called. So sysout, I will say directly name. Okay. In the child class, I will create a default constructor first. Test class. This is one constructor I am creating, and I will create another class. Okay, this is not test class, but this is child class. Since the class name and constructor name should be same, we have to give it as child class. And I am creating another constructor, a parameterized constructor here, which is string str. So I have created two constructors here. So here I would like to call from this default constructor this child class constructor. So what I will do is, I will say, since this is within the class, I have to use this keyword. So this, I will say constructor calling same class constructor, and I will also print out saying no argument constructor. So in this argument constructor, now I would like to call this parent class constructor. If it is within the same class, we use this keyword to call the constructor within the same class. But if we want to call the parent class constructor, then we have to use super keyword here. So what I will do is, I will say super of str. I will pass whatever the value that I am getting here, I will pass the same value to the super method here. But it is giving an error saying the constructor object of string is undefined. This is because we haven't specified that this child class is a child class of this parent class. So we have to use extends parent class. So now if we save this one, the error goes away. So this extends means what we are doing is, we are treating that this is a parent class and this is a child class of this parent class. So in the child class, whatever the values that are declared, any methods or anything, we can use them in the child class. This comes under inheritance topic, which we will cover in the future videos. Just for now, just remember that this is a child class and we will create a child class using extends keyword. Okay, and now we would like to access the parent class constructor in the child class constructor. So we are using a super keyword here, and since this parent class accepts a string as an argument, we are passing the same string that we are getting to this constructor. And where we are calling this constructor? In the default constructor. In the child class constructor, we are using this and we are calling the child class another constructor, parameterized constructor. So now let us create an object here. So child class cc equals to new child class. So here I have created an object. So this will first call this default constructor. So in the default constructor, we have this. So it calls the parameterized constructor here. In the parameterized constructor, we are passing a value from this constructor calling same class constructor. And in the parameterized constructor, now it is calling the parents class constructor using super keyword. So now it goes to super and it first prints this message saying constructor calling same class constructor here because of this print statement. And then it comes back to child class and then it comes back to the default constructor and it prints no argument constructor. Let us run this one. Run as Java application, save. Okay, see, the first one is constructor calling same class constructor, second one is no argument constructor. So this is how we use a super keyword to call the constructors of parent class. And one thing you have to remember here is, if we are calling a constructor from another constructor, let's say here in this case we are calling the parameterized constructor from the default constructor using this. If we are doing it like this, this statement, this should be the first statement in the constructor, otherwise it throws an error. Let me show you this one. I'm just taking out this one and I'm putting it here, okay, and it will throw an error, and the error is constructor call must be the first statement in a constructor. That means we have to place this one as the first statement. So this one thing you have to remember. Whenever we are calling another constructor from a constructor, then this statement should be the first statement in that constructor, otherwise it throws an error. Okay, in this video we have seen some interview questions on Java constructors. If you want to download the document, you can go to my repository github.com/suppostech and go to Selenium Java tutorials. And this tutorial starts with numbering 8A, so search with 8A and you will find this document here, Java Constructors Interview Questions, and you can download this document. In the next video, we will see what is properties class in Java.